Hey everybody, this is Sam Hansen here, and welcome to another update video. But this update video is going to be pretty special because I just want to say right now that just last Thursday, Daedae Book 2 is now finally released, and I just want to say right now that finally, after about 2.5 years since my first book's publication, Daedae Book 2, or as I should now call it, Daedae, the Waters of Sandycove, is now finally released on BookBaby and for the whole world to see. Technically not the whole world, because it's only exclusive onto BookBaby. But in regard to talking about that, well, we're gonna have to talk. Well, I'll bring that up about it. So without further ado, let's talk about a few things, not only regarding about the fact that I finally released my first book not just my first book, but not just my second book, but also in regards to other things that are going to happen just right now after I finish book 2. Of course, the first thing I want to mention is that, well, of course, the fact that, well, Daedae, the Waters of Sandycove is now on BookBaby, and I know some of you may be wondering why did I decide to make this update video on this Monday instead of on Friday, back when the book was released on Thursday. For those of you who've been following, and those of you who follow me on BookBaby. The thing is that I was going to make a video on Friday too, but last Friday was a little bit busy. I have my morning walk with my mom and her friend, and I have my part-time job, which went from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So yeah, I didn't really have much time to make that, so I decided to make this video on Monday. But I can definitely say right now that it is finally released and it's for a book for all of you to see, yeah, gosh. Do you remember back when I first started announcing my books that I would release back when I first announced it, my first Daedae book trilogy, that I would release my books at least my books every 2 or 4 months? Well, I never really would have expected that my second book would take me like 2.5 that I would spend 2.5 years making revisioning the second book. But hey, it's just basically the same thing as to how I didn't expect how I would end up ending 7 and ended up making Mickey Mouse the World of Color for like 6 or 7 years. Yeah. I guess it's just one of those things where you were kind of expecting to have a specific schedule for your eventual, but ultimately your project ends up coming out either just years later, or just how it would take you maybe this year's longer to make. So yeah, I guess I kind of make that. Overall, I am genuinely happy that my second book has now finally been released. But the big and even though I know that I technically did pre-order 25 copies of my book at home, but for those of you who want to who want to read the book, then click here in the link in the description below, where you can find the book on BookBaby, or more specifically, BookBaby, BookBabyStore.com. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is regarding the third book, regarding the third book in the series. Now, I don't know if I don't remember, if I recall memory, if I remember its official title, although I did think I recall it, I never revealed its official title, but it's regarding the third and final installment of the Daedae book trilogy, and that is Daedae Book 3. Now I won't give it for book 3. For right now, it is still a work in progress. Technically, I know. Technically, when I read the third book my original book has already been completed, but after I showed it to my mom and dad and showed the script for it, they think that I should probably add a lot more interesting stories with it. And considering that, well, I've already revisioned book 2, where I add some scenes and dialogue. Then book 2, despite me nearly finishing it, and for those of you who recall in my older videos, I was working on book 3, book 3 before, and I was already done with the drawing process. I was already specifically done with the drawing process, the inking process, just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and yeah, that left a bit of a state, and that another project. But now that I finished book 2, it's now a time that I get to finish back on book 3. Although I probably won't be in that, and I will explain the reason why. But first, I want to state right now that Daedae Book 3, Daedae Book 3, or as it would be referred by its official title, Daedae, the Blackbird of Kilkenny. Yeah, and yes, that title I said right there is what the official title of my second book would be. And judging how the Black and seeing how the Waters of Sandycove it focused on Notch from the first. From the first movie, not focused on Notch from the first on Notch. This book, hensing the title of Blackbird, will focus on Russell. Now first off, the title and the only thing I can only give away right now that for mention is that is just the book's official title, and that it will focus on Russell. That's the only thing I can only say about it. However, I will mention another thing regarding the book 3. And the third thing I want to say is regarding that I'm pretty sure you may be asking, when will book 3 come out? Now, for those of you considering that my second book has already my third book has already passed the inking process. Yet I'm considering adding in maybe a few scenes to maybe revision it. Unfortunately, I'll probably say right now that Daedae Book 3 will probably come out sometime in 2024. Now, there could be a possibility that Daedae Book 3 will come out either in 2024 or 2025. But right now, 2024 is the date that I'm hoping to maybe release the book. Now I'm not saying which day in 2024, but once I got all my I'm done with projects, and once I finalize my book 3, I'll see if I can find a date for book 2. Now there's also another thing that I also want to mention outside of book 3, and that is regarding the subject I'm talking about, and that is regarding that for those of you who have my videos, you know that when I finish book 2, that's when I get started on another project that I wanted to complete that took much longer than Daedae, and that is Mickey Mouse and the World of Color. Now, as of this video, I have stated, and of course, now that I've completed Daedae book 2, I can finally go and complete Mickey Mouse and Mouse and the World of Color in 2024, along with a few other projects I have in store, which I'll explain in my Chapaz Studios update at the start of October. But of course, I will say that once I finish with Mickey Mouse World of Color, that is when I'll be beginning on Daedae book 3, and so yeah, once I'll be done with the Mickey Mouse movie, I'll go and get started on Daedae book 3. Future releases of Daedae and considering that I have now released my now that I've released my second book here in 2023, and I'll be releasing my second book in 2024. This might have something to do with the fact that I have stated before. Well, actually, I have stated probably a while back that the delay of my books could affect how I would release my books, or every book of the trilogy, release date of my trilogies and of the Daedae series, or for trilogies, or future Daedae books if I ever completed book 3, I'm just for that right now, I'm just gonna call this for Daedae books because right now I'm just focusing on this trilogy in particular. If Daedae book 3 does become a hit with all of you, then there will be a possibility that I will continue book the series maybe with another trilogy. Who knows? But for now, going back to the subject now, in regards to future releases of Daedae books, I'll say right now that instead of my original plan my original plan of releasing each book every 2 or 4 months, just like I stated a while back, I have stated and considering that I have stated that my delay of my books would change, that the delayment of my books would affect how I release my books. I decided that I'll be releasing my book every 1, 2, or 3 years. And yes, I know it sounds like a whole lot, but trust me when I say that. But considering that it did took me 2 years to release the second book with all revisions and all, I guess it's safe to say that yeah, it goes without saying that I guess the development of my books books will probably take 2 or 3 years to make. So, research. So I guess this will probably be my new plan to release books every either 1, 2, or 3 years, give or take. So, yeah. And the last thing that I want to mention is mainly in regards to something that I've stated from the beginning, that I've stated from the beginning of the video, and that is, when will the Daedae books be published on Amazon? Now, a while back, I have stated in one of my update videos that Daedae would be released in Amazon in the future, and I am sort of considering it. But for those of you who had experienced it with BookBaby, you know that it's a little that it is a little expensive to release my books on Amazon or worldwide publishing, considering the fact that if you release a book on Amazon, then you're just pretty much putting a word to the release. And considering that I've released my books on BookBaby store, which is only something that I'm publishing. What I'm trying to say is that is only released to sort of independent authors and people who follow BookBaby. That means my books have been geared more towards a specific audience and And yes, I know some of you, and yes, I know that and I am kind of well aware that it was because of releasing the Daedae that I have discovered that my Daedae book series outside of my family have not much attention, considering that my books have not been considering that I'm guessing that the first book along the second book are not getting much attention because it's only just released on BookBaby, how I know that it's not really like that, and how my books are attention, especially with publishing or not, but in terms of in regards to but now that I mentioned this, and in regards to when I'll be releasing my Daedae books on Amazon, well, I'll say right now. Well, I think I'll say right now that once I release Daedae book 3, and once I completed the entire trilogy, that's when the talks of maybe releasing my books books worldwide on Amazon will begin. We'll just have to wait and see what happens after I complete the entire trilogy. And with that said, that's pretty much it for my whole videos this whole update as it is. Now, again, I'm really happy that I've completed the whole book series. I played book 2, and it's now finally released. And I would be happy to continue on with book 3, but right now I had to go and work on Daedae book, work on Mickey Mouse and the World of Color. So I won't be right now I won't be having that much for. So I won't be making any more. So as of this video, I won't be making more monthly update announcements for the and since this will be probably the last. Since this will last time I'll be making a video until I will complete Mickey Mouse World of Color and complete it. But I will. But for those of you who follow my channel, I'll give you updates on how things have been going and other things that have been going on too. So I'll keep you guys updated and I'll produce even some little videos and little small videos in the meantime, just to keep my channel alive and running. So when I will release my videos on the sorry if I'm stuttering, but what I'm trying to say is that when I release it, until after I Mickey Mouse World of Color, I'll go and get started on Mickey Mouse and get started on Daedae book 3. So until then, this is Sam Hansen signing off, and stay tuned for when I'll complete Mickey Mouse World of Color, and when Daedae's third and final adventure of the trilogy comes out sometime in 2024 or 2025, give or take.